My guest today is Brian Murphy, a principal with Capgemini Government Solutions. Brian, welcome to the program today.
Great to be here.
We're here to talk about innovation. Tell me why this is such a key hot topic for the federal government.
Well, innovation for any organization today, whether it be private sector or public sector, is critical as more technologies, more innovations are being introduced into the market. How can different organizations take advantage of those? And what we're seeing is that there's a shift in the way companies have to deal with innovation, right? It used to be that not very long ago, companies were trying to find, agencies were trying to find innovation and draw it in. How do you draw that in? Source it from your staff, from partners or what have you. Today, innovation is everywhere. It's ubiquitous. It's on the floor, in the room. It's just, you can pick it up. It's all over the place. So the bigger challenge now is how do you find out of the pile of innovation what's going to be useful for your organization? How do you apply it to solve your business problem? And that's the same that our federal government clients are seeing as well as our commercial sector clients. So,
go ahead.
So that's one of the key things, is that a shift in terms of how innovation and how companies have to deal with innovation, in terms of not just finding it. It's easy to find innovation. It's difficult to find the right innovation to apply to your business.
When did that become the issue versus finding the innovation? Now you're saying you've got to apply it correctly. When did that shift take place?
Well, over the past couple of years, you've seen the pace of change has really increased. And you can look back and you can see that in the private sector, for instance, more than 50% of Fortune 500 companies have been merged. 75% of S&P 500 companies are new or have changed. And so there's the pace of that change. If you just look at that metrics on those companies, you see change in the way the companies are structured and new operating models.
So how does Capgemini then come in and help some of these companies or help government agencies respond and deal with these rapidly changing technologies?
So Capgemini has developed an offering called the Applied Innovation Exchange. And it's a really great way for us to help our clients to identify and find and apply the Applied Innovation Exchange and apply those innovations and technologies into the business. So we've realized, as our clients are realizing, they need to embrace technology. We need to find ways to bring this technology into our business. We don't have all the answers, right? And how do we help find all those answers? And I think we, Capgemini, have also realized we don't necessarily have all the answers ourselves, but what we do have is partner networks, networks with academia, networks with venture capital firms. And what we've done is we created a forum where we can bring all those different perspectives and thought leadership together in one place. So it's a global initiative that we have. In the U.S., we've gone to Silicon Valley and established our innovation lab in Silicon Valley. And we're doing this with bringing new ideas, new opportunities with our clients together, so we can, in a forum, in an innovative, collaborative way, identify innovations that can be used, ways that we can figure out with clients how they apply to their business, and then bring them and put them into action quickly, because the pace needs to get things into action quickly.
Now, Capgemini does have a long-standing reputation for being able to help global public sector entities. How do some of these solutions apply to the U.S. federal government?
Well, I think that when you look at the U.S. federal government, some of the unique challenges they have around innovation, it draws into a couple of things that are, one is the acquisition process itself. Sometimes can be challenging and burdensome for bringing in new innovative technologies. There tends to be a risk aversion in the government, and some of that is represented in the acquisition process itself. And because of that, whether because of that or just the nature and perception of business with the government, not always are they seeing all of the best innovations, right? I mean, they're not always the primary target for the most innovative companies. So they don't know what they don't know. So I think that these types of capabilities can help to maybe ease some of the barriers of entry, maybe provide greater exposure, not only for the government clients into the VC community, for example, but for the opposite direction as well, to provide an understanding of what the innovation needs are of government agencies. And I think that there's a real need to try to bring these communities together in a way that facilitates innovation, maybe in a lower risk threshold kind of environment, where there's a little bit of trial and error that we can do, or test out new technologies, so that government agencies can then identify, select, and maybe put into application in a more rapid fashion.
Now, you mentioned acquisition. What other trends are you seeing in the federal government, and do you have maybe some thoughts on which agencies are leading the charge in terms of innovation?
Sure. I mean, I think in my realm, I focus largely on the civilian sector. And in that regard, I think you can see agencies like GSA trying to get more innovative in the way they're looking at acquisition vehicles, and trying to maybe speed up the way that agencies can buy some of these technologies. For example, GSA just awarded a BPA for Salesforce implementation services. Capgemini was an awardee on that. I'm happy to have an opportunity to work on that. But that's an example where you take a technology like Salesforce, a platform as a service capability, and you're trying to make it easier for government agencies to basically get more out of their investment in license fees and applications like Salesforce, so that they can more rapidly get the expertise they need. They get access to firms like Capgemini with experience doing agile development, with experience implementing Salesforce on global scales, and they have access to those capabilities in ways that previously they didn't.
How can organizations, whether it be public sector agencies, government agencies, or private sector companies, keep up with all of this rapidly changing technology and manage that?
That's a major problem, right? And that's, as things are these changes, as we discussed, are so fast, and innovation is coming and continues to wave towards us. And I think a part of this is a recognition first that you can't always have all the answers yourself, right? How do you keep up with it? And you have to leverage a broader network. You have to recognize that you need partners who can help you access communities that can bring in new technologies. Once you get these things into implementation, now you're in the realm of, how do you take advantage of new methodologies like agile development or continuous integration, so that you can stay on top of these changes as new releases are coming? How do you do that in a way that's more seamless, that you're delivering new capabilities to your end customers in a fashion that is quick? They're seeing things more frequently. That's managed well, so that it's not everything all at once, but how do you sequence them in a way that makes sense? And that allows you to manage the end user experience a little better. And I think that it kind of gets to another challenge that clients have, is end user experience, when you deal with sort of the citizens that are facing these things, and how do you manage what they're seeing?
Brian, as we close out here, where can the audience learn more information about this?
All this information is available on our website at capgemini-gs.com. And certainly my contact information is available from that website as well, so I'm happy to be contacted directly.
I'd like to thank my guest today, Brian Murphy. He's a principal with Capgemini Government Solutions on Expert Connect, sponsored by Capgemini. I'm your host, Jason Fornicola, and you're listening to federalnewsradio.com and 1500 AM.